Hello, and thanks for joining us for another episode of MidAmerican Gardener. I'm your host, Tanisha Spain, and we are out of the studio, as you can tell, at Prairie Fruits Farm and Creamery in Champaign. And I'll have my pals introduce themselves, and then off we go with questions and show and tell. So, Chuck.
All right, I am Chuck Voigt, and I retired from the Department of Crop Sciences almost 10 years ago. I was a vegetable and herb specialist there, so we'll try to address some of those things as we go into the beginning of winter here today.
Excellent. All right, Shane.
And I'm Shane Coulter. I also am retired. Been 3 years now from the family that owns Country Arbors Nursery, where my brother Joe Coulter is doing an amazing job while I come here and play and talk about plants all day.
And I'm not retired. I've still got a long ways to go before I get there. So, all right, well, you guys brought show and tells. I know everybody at home is looking at this guy, so let's start there.
Okay. Just for you, I grew dinosaur gourds this year. It's also called Maranka, M-A-R-A-N-K-A.
Okay.
It's called swan gourd. You can kind of see where it gets that.
Yes.
And if you grow them on a trellis or something, the neck gets really straight, and then it becomes a caveman's club.
Nice.
So it's got all kinds of names like that. It's a lagenaria. There's the genus. It has white flowers that bloom mainly at night, so it's pollinated by moths.
Now, you talked about these on the show earlier in the spring and
I
summer
did.
months.
I
How
did.
did they do as a crop for you?
Well, they took off like they were going to conquer the world. They grew out of where they were planted and were headed for the bean field. But then the drought kind of caught up with them, and I didn't do a stupendous job of weed control. And so I only got 6 of them. But I promised you that I'd have
Yes.
them. Well, the first problem I had was I planted a bunch of seeds, and only 2 plants came up. So apparently it was time to renew the seed because
Gotcha.
what I had was not overly vigorous in germinating.
And I asked you already off camera about eating this.
Right. There are some lagenaria type gourds that they eat as like summer squash when they're small and soft. This has when this dries out and you shake in the seeds and you get them out, the pulp in there is very acrid, and the dust gets in your mouth, and you have this nasty acrid taste. So plus it when it's dried out, it's like thin plywood. So you wouldn't want to try that here. We talked before when I was doing this that it's hard for me to believe that some makeup person somewhere didn't look at this and design the forehead design for the modern Klingons in the Star Trek universe, because
you can see it.
That's exactly what they look like. So I think I can see somebody, making a latex cast of that, and then making the makeup.
Very cool.
Right.
It's a neat little. It's neat.
It is.
Just kind of like the broom corn.
And,
It's just
it's
neat to look at.
And as it starts to dry, which could take most of the winter, it could stay green for a long time. As it starts to dry out, you may start to see a little bit of surface moles and whatever going on. But as it starts to get lighter, if you start shaking it so the seeds get loose, it's easier to get them out. And then if you drill about a quarter-sized hole, you can shake them right out, and then you can hang this somewhere, and it's a perfect size for wrens.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've
turn it into a birdhouse.
Right. I hung one when I planted them this year. I hung that one with its hole on the swing where I rest.
Yes.
And within days, the wrens had colonized it.
Very nice.
They just love them. So it's just all kinds of fun, and that one is yours.
Oh, thank you. See, I love my job.
So now you'll have seeds, but
a wren's
be
nest.
aware if the plant is happy, it may grow 30 feet in all directions.
Okay, noted. This is going to be my paperweight for today. Thank you, Chuck.
Okay.
All right, Shane, we are to you. You want to talk about your tray, or you
I'm
want
going
to
to talk about the cactus because this is real timely with Christmas, Thanksgiving
And
cactus,
it's got a
Christmas
question.
cactus. Yeah, so there's a question that came in.
Yes, let me
what
read
was the
that.
exact question?
So
Yeah.
Mary says, how do you tell the difference between a Christmas, Thanksgiving, and an Easter cactus? Do they all naturally bloom on their respective holidays, or is that marketing hype?
Well, I think they got their names because they do come pretty close to those days.
Okay.
So this is a Thanksgiving cactus, and it is starting to bloom.
It's just about ready.
And we are shooting this real close to Thanksgiving. They're very easy to tell if you look at them once you know what to look for. When they have very serrated leaves like this, it is a Thanksgiving cactus.
Okay.
So obviously the bloom time makes it pretty obvious as well. But a Christmas cactus will be more rounded. So you'll have some serration, but you'll have more rounded. And an Easter will be all rounded. So it'll be smooth around each leaf. So when you look at it, you're just looking for the serration. So heavily serrated, Thanksgiving, smooth at the bottom with a little serration at top. Christmas, smooth all the way around is going to be Easter.
And you made a video about that.
I made a video of
We're
exactly
going to link
that.
that for folks so that they can know the difference
Yeah, because
between them.
it's probably, other than how do I get my hydrangeas to turn blue or when to trim my hydrangeas, probably the most often asked question is how do I tell the difference in which one is which? And they don't ever tell you, right? You see it in the stores and it's just sitting there and blooming and you just buy it.
Then you just pick it up and grab it. Care-wise, do they need a lot of light?
Yeah, so
Are they
this one is 5 years old, made from a cutting, which this one is going to be now that I broke it off. We really have it in a low light northern facing room.
Okay.
And it does just fine. We don't overwater it, which is one of the things people do. People tend to really over care for it. So we just keep it regularly, like you almost do all house plants. Good watering, let it dry out all the way through and then re-water and keep that cycle never going too hard either way. Really low maintenance. My wife takes care of this, and nothing against my wife, but she is not a strong houseplant person, and she does a great job with this one. It's always looked good. It's never looked poor at all.
Noted.
Yeah.
And for the piece that snapped off, if that happens to folks at home, do they root best in soil or water?
We do it in soil.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
soil. So a little small tip, like right here, will do really well in soil.
Just
Matter of fact,
root
that's how we
that
grow
in.
them all at the nurseries, through cuttings.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a great plant.
Yeah, and the response is kind of hardwired into them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a day length response.
Yep.
And where they came from and how it worked out. It just happens to work out as
that's
three different
great
holidays.
thing. Why do they bloom? How do they know when Thanksgiving is? Like,
Yes.
do they have a calendar? It's daylights, and you can trick them into blooming earlier or shorter by
Right.
adjusting your daylight.
And it's amazing to see these grown. I've seen like
Yeah.
acres and acres and acres of them in Holland, where
wow.
they're like on a mechanical thing where they start here and they kind of mechanically go through this giant greenhouse, and by the time they reach the other side,
Yep.
they get packed and shipped.
Yep.
And go through
It's a timed greenhouse.
go through the flower market there in Aalsmeer and are all over the world in just a matter of hours.
Interesting. Well, there's a question that came in about grass seed, and now we're in the holidays. It's not something that we're really thinking about, but Lisa wants to know if it's too late or maybe too early, depending on how you think about it, to plant grass seed for next year.
I would worry that it's just going to be bird feed if you put it out there now. The ideal time is around Labor Day in the fall for cool season grasses, and I think as you get toward December, not much good is going to happen. Best case, it would just lie there up through the winter,
dormant,
and then get spring rains and maybe come out in the spring. Spring is not as good a time to sow grass seed as early fall, but it's acceptable. So I would say probably save the money because
You'll just be
you
feeding
want to
the
start
birds.
with a fairly high quality seed, not the quick greening.
Yeah.
I call them junk blends that they green up fast, but then they never make really good turf.
Okay.
So I would save your money on that, and maybe do it as early in the spring as possible, knowing that that's not ideal either. But
Okay.
You can
it's
also
better than
cheat in
that.
the early spring when you get those last snows that melt really quickly. You can throw it on top of the snow, and if you know that the snow is going to melt that day, the ground's already starting to open up, so the snow will go in, bringing the seed into the cracks, and so it kind of self-sows and gets in there before the birds figure it out.
Okay.
So I always love, those heavy wet snow, we call them heart attack snows at the end of the year.
Yes.
Heart attack snows are really good for seeding too. Good for killing and good for seeding the soil. So, yeah.
If you
Nature
survive.
giveth,
If you survive.
nature taketh away,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
if you also have your soil worked up, you can do that same thing with lettuce seed.
A lot of
Works that way.
seeds.
And we used to do that with like clover seed on
Yeah.
a wheat field. It would be honeycombed, and you'd spread it over there late winter.
Easy to see the thickness of seed that you put down when it's on the snow.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Another question for, let's see, let's go to your tray, because I want to.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm not really allowed to do is get any water on the floor. So we redid our basement, beautiful floor, our kitchen's got a nice wood floor, and every time I start bringing in the plants, my wife, I can just see in her face, like, do not. So those plastic clear trays you see everywhere,
Yes.
we put those down. They're pretty bad. They leak, they
rip
get
and-
old, the
yes.
daylight or the sunlight breaks them down. So I found these on this site you might have heard of. It's a new one called Amazon. And I hate shopping there, but I hadn't really seen anything like these before. And they are thick plastic, really large. Will take all my lime trees, all my plants will fit on that. I can even put 3 different ones. They never get on the floor. They never leak. I never get in trouble. All the things I'm looking for. A plant that doesn't, that can get watered. And if I water too much, it stays in here and feeds it. So if I'm going on vacation for a week, I just fill this up and go.
Overwater it, and very
So it's
nice.
it's the best tray I've ever found.
We love
And
practicality.
cheap. Imagine that.
So on previous shows, this might be our last question. On previous shows, we've talked about soaking tomato seeds to save them to plant for next year. And we have someone who wants to know, Terry wants to know why we do that, and if you can just harvest them, save them, and then just plant them. Do you need to soak them?
The answer is you can just clean them up and save them. It's better to ferment them because it cleans up the seed. It might delay some disease issues. So it's best to follow all the instructions and do that, and let them ferment, and then the crud comes to the top,
Yes.
and the good seeds go down. And then you dry those out. I have certainly done it the other way. Just put them on newspaper, let them dry, and then scrape them off the newspaper and plant them that way. And I've gotten by pretty well with that.
Okay.
But I think there's a reason that they do it the
Sure.
other way. You get a much cleaner seed that's
And of all the seeds that you need to, you hear about scarifying as well, where you'll take and you'll scratch the seed to
Yes.
help. You're really trying to help the seed move along a little faster. Tomato seeds don't need a lot of help. It's like one of the ones that you don't need it as much. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying of all the ones, if you get down to one, that's the one that's probably going to be okay.
all a tomato seed need is to dry out.
Yeah.
Got it.
They're programmed not to germinate when they're wet, because otherwise they'd be growing out of the tomato field.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, one last question. Shane, for people who have brought their houseplants in, Hallie says they're looking kind of sad. So what do you do at home to give your houseplants a little oomph to get through the winter?
Yeah, I mean, grow lights, it's the daylight. They're used to being outside and seeing plenty of daylight. We're getting it naturally where it's less sunlight, but we're getting even more when you bring it in a house where there's only windows. So the grow lights have gotten really inexpensive now with LED lighting. So, get the daylight a lot longer using LED lights. Make sure the watering is okay. Again, keep it a little dry to start, and then kind of introduce it to a little bit more water. Don't overdo the dry though, because they are used to being outside. You bring them in, the house is drier than outside. So it's really about maintenance of water, maintenance of light, and get it away from the window so that cold temperatures don't hit on the leaves.
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming out. Really appreciate it. Excellent segment. Let's get you guys warm. Well, look who I ran into here at the farm. Marty's going to help us create a lovely decoration. Now, this basket lives on your porch,
on
right?
my porch. Yeah.
Now, you sent us in a picture of the fall arrangement that you made.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about that, and then let's get into what we're going to do today.
Okay, the fall arrangement I did just like I do the winter arrangement. I walked around the yard with my handy dandy clippers,
Yes.
and I snipped stuff off that looked suitable. So the weather was so warm that now the colors for autumn are coming into their own. And I've got all kinds of fantastic autumn foliage in my yard that's completely unsuitable for the Christmas season. So instead,
We have to make do.
that's right. I do also have evergreens. So I got about 4 different kinds of evergreens here, and I cut some faded flower heads, and I've got some suggestions for what you can do with those later. So
Okay, let's
and
build
this is what I do. It's so easy.
I love this, and you do this in some sort of form every year on the show for us, usually in the fall, but I love how you incorporate the dried and the spent blooms, and it just looks lovely. It's got that
easy.
rustic charm to it, and
You can
what's
do
the word
this.
you guys use? Winter appeal, is it?
Okay.
Or something to look at in the wintertime?
Eye appeal.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
visual.
So,
yeah.
visual appeal. Okay, so
Yeah.
take it away.
Okay, so this is yew, Texas, and it's very popular. I have an Everlow in my yard. It's a yew variety that doesn't get very tall. It'll spread out a little bit, but not too tall. It's been in the ground probably 20 years, and it is barely as tall as this counter.
Okay.
And that's
Slow
the
grower.
stuff sticking up pretty high. So I did bring my hand pruners in with me. I had to go back out to the car and get them. but I did bring them with me. But a lot of these things,
So
I'm
the
just going
evergreens
to
in the
stuff
bottom.
in. I'm just going to stuff them in.
For people
And-
who are worried, am I going to do this right? Is this going to look okay? Is there a method to the madness, or are you just sort of?
I'm kind of doing, some overhang on either side.
Okay.
This dark green is a wonderful backdrop. It doesn't have a lot of snap, but it's a great backdrop. So I'm just kind of lining the basket bottom
Okay.
with these, and I've got pretty good sticking out here, pretty good sticking out there. It doesn't have to be 6 on one and 6 on the other. I mean,
Yes. We're
loosen
just
your
shooting from the hip here.
loosen your drawstring. It's good. You're fine. You should just get twangy-wangy. Okay, I also have some boxwood,
Okay.
which is also,
Very pretty.
and all of these are conifers except the boxwood. My neighbor down the road has a really nice holly tree. And if I had not been running late, as the late Mrs. Alanya always does, I would have stopped and said, "Can I clip some of those?
Just
'Cause
a couple.
holly, yeah."
Yeah. That's okay.
I
If you've
couldn't do
got
it.
holly, you can incorporate
Oh,
it
you
into,
dang Skippy.
into
And
your basket.
And I'd love to get some with the red berries on it, but I didn't. So, okay, here's the
I see the
professional.
vision.
Yeah, you just take these and you stuff them in there. So this is just not, it's just not rocket science. So we're going to pretend that this is going to be the front of the basket, and this is going to be against the wall
Okay.
on my porch. So I'm going to try to play it to the camera visual there.
And you could do ornaments or garland, depending on how
Get
you
there.
wanted to
Oh,
do
yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah.
It could be something for the holidays or just something for the winter
Oh, yeah.
months.
So I've got some arborvitae here. I've got some green giant in my yard, and some hicksite, and that's what these came off of. You'll notice, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the branch underneath is a little bit lighter and more dull, and the upper side is a little bit brighter. And I'm putting these in so they kind of cup. you know?
Gotcha.
So the yew is darker, the boxwood is a little lighter. The Chamaecyparis is a little bit lighter yet, and it lays flat.
So we're going color depth, we're going different textures.
Different textures, you
Very
can
nice.
see. I mean, this is pretty
It is.
right now,
It is.
and it's not doing anything spectacular at all. So I'm gonna clip that off because it's sticking up. There was a branch sticking up, and I didn't want him, so I just cut him
Off
off
he
and
goes.
sent him to compost heaven. So there's this. So it lays flat. Little bit of sticking up here.
Tip that just a little bit so
Not bad.
folks can
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of see
please
what
do. Please do.
what you've created
Go
here
right
so
ahead.
far. Okay, let's finish her up.
I also have golden mops Chamaecyparis in my yard, and it's just got such a beautiful yellow color. I don't know if you can catch that on the camera or not, but that goes in toward the middle more because it's so bright.
You want to be able to see that.
Yeah, and it just really, it really gives some visual pop here. Okay, I think I've got one more.
So you literally just walked around the yard and
It took me 15 minutes.
Yeah, I love this.
I was thinking not too long ago that every single tree and shrub and plant in my yard has been planted by my hand over the years. I was kind of a little taken aback to realize that. Good God, I'm old now. Okay, it's been there a little while. So this.
And the smell.
Oh yeah, it's lovely.
Very fragrant, very fragrant.
So this is concolor fir, blue fir. It's not as stickery. Spruces are spiky and firs are furry. Yeah, rub that. It doesn't bite you.
No.
No, not at all. Because firs are furry. And it smells.
I feel like I'm just out in
so
the
nice.
forest.
Oh yeah. So this is blue. And you can see how nice the color tips are. Yeah. So I'm going to stick these in front where, you know, people who come up the steps, including me every day, can appreciate them. I'm going to cut this. There's a little branch here, and I'm going to cut that right below there. So it still has a little branch sticking up. I'm going to add a little bit more blue back here. I'm going to go around the handle, and I have one more nice blue branch to stick over on this side. Then this.
The finishing touches.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is mullein. It's a weed. Like skunk cabbage. It came up in my flower bed. It was not welcome to grow in my flower bed. But does it have some cool seed heads or what?
Yes, it does. Yes, the visual appeal.
Yeah, so the next things I'm going to add are some of these. And this is Pinky Winky Hydrangea. And these are the old standard Autumn Joy Sedum. Now, this morning was foggy. And last night was foggy.
Yes.
I was going to spray paint a couple of these, not heavily, but just a little, you know, just a little smudge.
Yeah, just a little something.
Of gold or silver or copper on all these dried heads. And you can tuck them in there for a little bit of sparkle. However,
Mother
that's
Nature
not
had
what
other
happened.
ideas.
Everybody was wet, and the paint won't stick. And I thought, that's going to be a mess, is what that's going to be. Okay, these have multiple stems, and I'm going to stuff this in here deep and see how it spreads itself around here.
This is turning out
And if
really
it
nice.
doesn't want to, I'll cut some off and move them because
That looks really good. Let me turn it
yeah,
so
it just
folks can see.
stuffs on in there.
Turned out really, look at that.
Yep,
A weed.
it's a weed. You can also use foxtail grass. I love using foxtail in autumn arrangements, and that's another thing that you can spray paint.
Gotcha.
You can give it a little, you know, and it's really, they really look cool.
Now, how will this keep its color all winter, or
Yeah.
will you get sick of looking at this in, say, February and off it goes? Will it look nice?
I couldn't bring myself to crawl behind the knee wall this morning and dig out my unbreakable ornaments. But what I do is I put a bunch of unbreakable ornaments in here with, no, I don't want that there. I put a bunch of unbreakable ornaments in my, in the middle here and kind of tucked in there and here and there. And then that's for December. And when the Christmas season has come and gone, I pull the ornaments back on and put them away. So the rest of it just sits there for the whole winter, and it's really not. Now you see, I'm just, this is not rocket science.
No.
I'm
but
just breaking these off, and I'm poking them in where there isn't one, and ta-da. You know, it's just,
very nice,
it's just
Marty.
not that hard to do. And then
All right.
these heads, you know. Now, you can cut these pretty short, stuff them in there. Look at those. They're really, really nice. And if you had a little kiss of gold or silver or copper on here, you see how nice they would look. And I did find this rolling around my house. So,
the
okay,
one,
so
the lone
imagine,
ornament.
yeah, and you got to remember that when you walk up on my porch, this is like sitting on a chair. So you see it from above. Look how much that dresses that up.
Boom.
And I put like 10 or 12 in there. Just tuck them in.
Yes.
And this is the easiest thing in the world. And then it goes in the compost pile.
Bada bing.
Yeah.
So here is the finished product. Wow. And it did not take long to assemble at all.
Not at all.
So just, yeah, go take a walk in your yard and see what you can find. And
Yeah.
and this will sit on the porch until you're ready to switch it out for the spring arrangement, right?
Yeah, and if you come on the show and do one of these, bring more Christmas ornaments, because again,
We
too
have
lazy.
one.
Yeah, just have one. But I do like it hanging there. That's
Well,
kind of
thank
fun.
you so much, Marty. Always a pleasure hanging out with you. That is the show for this week. Thank you so much for watching, and a big thanks to Lauren and the rest of her team here at Prairie Fruits Farm and Creamery. And also a big thank you to the goats, the star of the show. If you've got questions that you want our panelists to answer, you can send them in to us at yourgarden@gmail.com, or you can send us a message on Facebook. And we will see you next time. Good night and happy holidays.